What's going on, y'all? How y'all doing? How y'all doing? What's cracking? Uh, what's going on? What's going on, Shakra King, man? What's cracking? Thank you for coming through, man. We're going to talk a little bit about the art of seduction, man. You know, as the summer winds down, I think it's been apparent to me the universe came and spoke to me. Well, YouTube came and spoke to me. YouTube came and spoke to me, and and since summertime is coming down to a close, we got like what one couple of weeks left in summer, and a lot of because of what's been going on with the pandemic, people are finally getting outside, doing their thing, so forth and so have you. Um, Hot girl summer is over. Hot bay summer is over. Coming to a close. I've seen a lot of people going traveling, doing their thing. A lot of my friends that I grew up with, I see them getting married, going to Jamaica, going to Cancun. Cancun seems to be the spot now for black people now. Cancun, people's in Cancun. I think was it before the pandemic hit, it was Dominican Republic. Now it's Cancun. See a lot of people there enjoying themselves, having a good time. They're taking vacations by themselves, or they're taking vacations with someone or their friends. They're going out with their friends or with their boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever. You know what I'm saying? So have you. But we're coming up on cuffing season, or the harvest season of all those summer romances um, that a lot of us seem to involve ourselves with in if we're not already with someone. And people don't even know that nature has a way of doing this. You don't, people don't really understand that. Like, they don't really get it. Like, it's a part of nature. It's a hormonal effect. It drives a lot of things. It drives a lot of things. And you can feel it. You can feel the energy. And it's been pent up for a while, but I'm going to get these into the art of seduction just a little bit, and it's going to be it's going to be two things that I'm going to talk about, but I'm gonna focus in on the men a little bit. And the thing about the art of seduction, it was a little hard for me to read it a little bit when I first was reading the books. What's going on, Joe? Let me give a shout out to people that came in and showing some love. Shakara King, what's going Black, what's going on? Vonda, how you doing, sis? Just Ask Char, the greatest producer out here in these YouTube streets. Appreciate you, Char, always. And it was her birthday last week. Show her some love. She will be live tomorrow. So come through. You got 2.5 hours though. And then she'll be live on Saturday with the co-host Classic Review for Article Reactions. I love that. I always love that show. So what's going on, Callie J? Listen, yo, Callie J, it was her birthday too this past weekend. And you know what I'm saying? They're like all these people like having these birthdays in the end of July and August and going into August. I think it's Ruby's birthday coming up soon too, if I'm not mistaken. But getting back at the task at hand is the art of seduction, because I was reading the 48 Laws of Power, and this is back in the day, and when I first got into it, and it was the 48 Laws of Power, is the 33 Strategies of War, and it's the art of seduction. Now, you read the 48 Laws of Power from what I'm told first, but you have to start to apply it. Then the art of seduction is more on a spiritual, connotation, kind of like getting your conscious mind type of thing. Everybody know that little joke I'll be running in the back chats, right? So read, that conscious mind, your chakras and your pineal gland stuff. It's kind of like along that line. But the you know what I'm saying? But you know what I'm saying? The art of seduction, it's truth to it. There's truth to it, and it gives you explanation. I think a lot of times with us as human beings, when we find ourselves in a situation, and we don't know how to deal with it. We don't understand why we are doing the things that we're doing, especially when it comes to being in a relationship with the person. If it's explained to us, or we start to delve deep into it and understand the science behind it, I think that logic makes us more, I guess, responsible. We start to take accountability to a certain degree, depending on how it's given to you. And a lot of times people are giving you things that is, that doesn't give you account, that doesn't allow you to take accountability, if I may say. There's a lot of content creators that do this by focusing on your trauma or the low point of your life and triggering a response from you, be it men versus women, women versus men, be it this ethnic group versus this ethnic group, this country versus this country, this political party versus that political party. It all rooted into the same thing, and it's a relationship status with you and someone that's not you. Because a lot of times our relationships with ourselves are broken. So how can we have functional relationships with someone else, right? So now we're going to get into this. And this is the thing that got that, and I'm gonna put this up here. I think I like this. Now for everybody, let's and this is going to be the start of cuffing season. So let's bring in our friend. So we're gonna bring in our friend again. This is our cuffing season guy. This is our cuffing season guy. Let's bring in our friend here. So we got to bring our guy in. You know what I'm saying? And the reason why I got old Elmer up here and I bring him up there like that is because, Elmer was always trying to get to the rabbit. He was always trying to get bugs. He was always trying to run up on the man, right? And he was hunting them. Now, he never said he wanted to eat the, you know what I'm saying? He never said he wanted to eat bugs. He never said he wanted to do any of that. But why was he hunting bugs, right? Why do men go out and hunt? Why do men seek women out, right? It's this thing, right? It's this thing in our nature to do so. But there are men that have a different way of doing it. So I'm going to bring this up on the screen here, and we're going to talk about two different types of things. So I'm gonna go at the men first. I'm gonna talk about the men first for you ladies, because I'm gonna be fair, and then I'm gonna talk about the archetype of lady after that, right? So, and this applies to men too. So the way the art of seduction is written, you can take it either way, but the way the art of seduction is written, it's really a thing kind of for men to a certain degree, but it does hold truth to women too, where they can learn these things too. And a lot of these guys talk about these life coaches, these dating coaches. I'm not a dating coach, no stretch of the imagination. I'm not trying to be one, but I feel this visceral reaction that's going to come in the fall when cuffing season is about to start. And people are like, what is cuffing season? Cuffing season is you get your partner and you settle down for the winter. You get, you start, because there's so many holidays. Think about it. After Labor Day, you got your Columbus Day. Well, yeah, whatever. But you got your Columbus Day. But then you got Halloween. Now you got Halloween. Then you got Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is the one that makes you feel alone, right? Like you go around with your family, but when you get a certain age, and you maybe not have started a family, or for those of us to get older, especially as men, it's 30, you're 32, 33, you're showing up over your parents' house with your extended family there, your aunts, your uncles, second cousins, whatever, right? And you're coming in there and you 32, 33 years old and you don't even have a steady woman, a woman that you can show off to the people, say, I'm with somebody, you know, and she's not even running the test, right? Because this is when you have the woman around where she learns about your family, or you go over to their house. You know what I mean? Like, it's a whole different can of worms when you're starting to get in that age, because men do get into that age where you're starting to be judged by other men. And if you cannot hold down the family, how can I expect you to hold down more responsibility in said work environment? So let's get back to this part though. So you're walking in Thanksgiving. You're sitting there, you're at the table, smelling like Amazon because you done ordered all the Amazon or you work there. There's nothing wrong with working at Amazon, but you are a bachelor. You got figurines on the wall. You know, your house doesn't have no semblance of a woman's touch. Even if you're just dating, she doesn't have to live with you. But there's a different type of feel when you walk in a house or an apartment where there's a presence of a woman that comes through on a regular basis. There's a different type of feel. Way different type of feel. Right? Way different type of feel. It's a different type of feel altogether. And what I mean by that is that you have to understand something about that. And there's a sense of accomplishment of you being in a steady, stable relationship. And when it starts, you know, it's cool during the spring, right? Because everybody running, right? You know what I'm saying? Sundress season, boy, all of that percolating, pheromones popping out. You're getting out there. Maybe you worked out during the winter and you got your body set. You're getting ready for the summer because that's when hunting season go down. The birds are chirping. It's hot out there. It's, it's too hot to wear too many clothes. You go into the beach, whatever, right? And you out there shooting your best shot. And you out there like battling with other men, right? Competing against other men because it's time to get it. And then everybody settles on their mates. They settle on the person that they can deal with, because there's a difference between dealing with someone, and this is for women too, that's good for the spring and the summer, but until they go for the long haul into the fall, into the winter. Because now you stuck with the person. You can't go nowhere, right? Less people are out. And those holidays and those gatherings are to bring more camaraderie. It's to bring more essence to it. It's to bring things back and forth. It's to get that intimacy. There we go. Intimacy between you and your partner. Because at the end of the day, it's for you to procreate, build legacy, build family. Now, as we go into cuffing season, the natural order of things, I don't care how civilized we get, human beings are still human beings. We're still seasonal when it comes to things. So as you go into cuffing season, are you ready? Have you planted your seeds in the spring? Are you ready to harvest in the fall and put away in the storehouse for the winter? Men and women. Have you cultivated those relationships to the point? Have you cultivated those relationships? Or your relationship with that person while you were out there doing whatever you're doing? And now we're going to get into it. So here we go. So on the art of seduction, I'm going to read this to you guys. On the art of seduction, right? The dandy. Now this is page 41 of the Art of Seduction. Man, you can go online, you can download the PDF to it. I know our Steve Cerulean Gray had it on the Gray Regime website where you can read these books. Read. I had to put my Hebrew Israelite in there for a second. But most of us feel trapped within the limited roles that the world expects us to play. We are instantly attracted to those who are more fluid than we are, those who create their own persona. Dandies excite us because they cannot be categorized, and they hint at a freedom we want for ourselves. They play with masculinity and femininity. They fashion their own physical image, which is always startling. Use the power of the dandy to create an ambiguous, alluring presence that stirs repressed desires. Now, you're probably like, wow, that's a lot. Now, the dandy was used to save the man, right? Because you would consider the man the dandy, right? You know, dapper. You know, I remember my uncle would tell me these things. He said, son, if you don't have the God given looks, if you're not tall, dark, and handsome, right? Because I'm like 5'7", 5'8". With Tim's on, I'm 5'9.5". You know what I'm saying? But, but I'm not like, I'm an in shape guy. I have a natural physique. I can just, if I look at a weight, I'll be in shape. Not everybody's blessed with those genetics or those genes, but I'm not tall either. Right. So you understand your pecking order. So I had to learn certain things. I had to learn how to dress. That's one thing that I was keen on, and I was taught how to dress, how to put on a suit, how to tie a tie, how to do certain things, how to look clean and presentable. But then the other part of that is not just what you wear, not just how you smell. Those are the bare basics. The other thing is how you carry yourself and how you rest in it. Woman, man, doesn't matter. Some people have a natural gift of pulling people to them. They have this light about them. They have this magnetism. Now, can you learn and be that way within your own lane? You can. Some people are great just being awkward. They draw attention and people love them being awkward. Have you ever had that friend that's just so laid back, or known someone that is just so laid back, like they're just like a cloud floating and everybody loves this person? Or you ever had another person that would do things that they should get in trouble for, like it's going to happen, and it just does it, like the world just opens up for them? Or they dress kind of, what is he wearing? But it works for them. Like you couldn't pull it off, but they can pull it off. This is what they're talking about. This is what this is talking about. And they seduce people. And remember, seduction doesn't always have to go into an intimate relationship. You can use this in your job and understand why this person can get away with it and you can't. This is power. This is a thing. Now, women are, this is their wheelhouse more than men. They're better at it because they're always working on it. If you get what I'm saying, like men, we try to use our masculinity and a raw brute strength because that's how we compete against each other. But women, they have different tools in the tool shed. They have really different tools in the tool shed. But that doesn't mean that they're ones that fail at this. And the reason why I said this is, listen to this. They play with masculinity and femininity. Now, I'm going to bring up, I'm going to play this first couple of maybe first minute and I pinned it to the chat of this part of what Robert Greene was breaking down. So I'm going to play this for you guys.
Was and will always remain the female form of power and warfare. It was originally the antidote to rape and violence. The man who uses this form of power on a woman is in essence turning the game around, employing feminine weapons against her.
Now, you hear what he just said, right? Why would you have a book about the art of seduction? Women naturally can do it. Like pretty women, they can just do it without even trying. They ain't even got to open their mouth. We know how this works. Okay. But this is how women protect themselves. This is their natural armor that, you know, we get strength and all of this other stuff. Women have these things. But I'm going to continue to let this play right now. But listen to what he said. If you're using the art of seduction, that doesn't mean you're feminine. You're using feminine tools. Because I'm like, you know, it is what it is, man. It is what it is.
Without losing his masculine identity, the more subtly feminine he
So think about it like this. Let's go into
employing feminine weapons against her. Without losing his masculine identity, the more subtly feminine he becomes, the more effective the seduction.
So think about it like this. Women do not like feminized men. It's subtle feminine things. That means you bring some softness. You're not running around all day with your chest poked out, beating on your chest, you know, smelling like you just came out of a forest wrestling a bear. Shout out to Shadra. You can be soft with her. You can be a brute and be masculine with someone else, with other men, or you give off that energy to other women. You let her feel special. You treat her special. You become softer with her. You don't become overly soft where she can run over top of you, but you handle her with care.
Do not be one of those who believe that what is most seductive is being devastatingly masculine.
Did you hear what the man said? Let me bring it back because if I said I'm not right, so I'm gonna bring it back. Here we go.
Is being devastatingly masculine. The feminine dandy has a much more sinister effect.
Now, he said not being devastatingly masculine.
He lures the woman in with exactly what she wants. A familiar, pleasing, graceful presence. Mirroring feminine psychology, he displays attention to his appearance, sensitivity to detail, a slight coquettishness.
Sounds like somebody we know in the YouTube streets, doesn't it? How is he able to say these talking points that everyone would throw up and windmill and say whatever, but have women lining up to volunteer for this? How does he present himself? And I'm not making this about him, but I got to use that as an example. I have to use that as an example, right? Because it's right there in front of our faces. We see it's done all the time. You can say anything to anyone long as you present it the right way. Give you a perfect example. You come into the office, the boss comes down, he sits you down, and y'all have a conversation. He asks you, how are you doing? How is everything? What's going on? You have a conversation with him, and then you say, well, I would like to talk to you about your job performance, but I am very concerned because your production was here and it dropped off. So why are you acting the way you're acting now? And maybe you should take a couple of days off. You will accept that. Now, let's go to another scenario. Same thing happens. I don't care what you're going through. We have to make a quota. You were my top salesperson, and now you are what? Well, I don't get any time off. What do you mean? And then you're arguing, and then there's an argumentative thing that's being happened. And then you know what you do? You know what? I quit. See how that works? Maybe to that extreme, maybe not. But do you get what I'm saying? So it's presentation. It's always been that. But let's continue.
But also a hint of male cruelty. Women are narcissists in love with the charms of their own sex. By showing them feminine charm, a man can mesmerize and disarm them, leaving them vulnerable to a bold, masculine move. The feminine dandy can seduce on a mass scale. No single woman really possesses him. He is too elusive, but all can fantasize about doing so. The key is ambiguity. Your sexuality is decidedly heterosexual, but your body and psychology float delightfully back and forth between the two poles.
Do we need, if you want to listen to the rest of this, you can, you know what I mean, the link is in the chat. Just in the chat, do y'all want to hear more of this? If you want to hear more of what he's saying, press a 1. If you don't, press 2 so I can move on to the next one, because I'll leave it up to you guys to decide. I'll leave it up to you guys to decide. And what do y'all think about what he's saying? Ladies in the chat, men in the chat, is there anything that you want to dispute? So I'll wait for y'all. Put a 1 in the chat if you want me to play this a little bit more. Put a 2 in the chat if you want to move on. We got a 1 from Char. Okay, Char would like to hear more. All right. RSB, you're okay, cool. All right, well, you know what I'm saying? Anybody else? Hey, I'm gonna give you 5 seconds. I'm gonna give you. You know what? How many likes we got on the stream right now? Let me check how many likes we got on the stream. How many likes we got on the stream here? Let's see how many likes we got on the stream. All right, we got 9 likes. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna run these turners real quick, and then I'll let y'all continue to participate, class participation. So I'm gonna run these turners real quick. Hold on. I'm gonna run these turners for the people that like the stream. Turner. And I'm gonna run it again. Turner. I'm gonna run those. 1. Nah. Okay, we got so people that voted on it, I'm pretty sure Chakra King, man, Black, he's on the voting. So we're gonna play it some more.
The masculine dandy succeeds by reversing the normal pattern of male superiority in matters of love and seduction. A man's apparent independence, his capacity for detachment, often seems to give him the upper hand in the dynamic between men and women. A purely feminine woman will arouse desire, but is always vulnerable to the man's capricious loss of interest. A purely masculine woman, on the other hand, will not arouse that interest at all. Follow the path of the masculine dandy, however, and you will neutralize all a man's powers. Never give completely of yourself. While you are passionate and sexual, always retain an air of independence and self-possession. You might move on to the next man, or so he will think. You have other more important matters to concern yourself with, such as your work. Men do not know how to fight women who use their own weapons against them. They are intrigued, aroused, and disarmed. Few men can resist the taboo pleasures offered up to them by the masculine dandy. Many of us today imagine that sexual freedom has progressed in recent years, that everything has changed for better or worse. This is mostly an illusion. A reading of history reveals periods of licentiousness. Imperial Rome, late 17th century England, the floating world of 18th century Japan, far in excess of what we are currently experiencing. Gender roles are certainly changing, but they have changed before. Society is in a state of constant flux, but there is something that does not change. The vast majority of people conform to whatever is normal for the time. They play the role allotted to them. Conformity is a constant because humans are social creatures who are always imitating one another. At certain points in history, it may be fashionable to be different and rebellious, but if a lot of people are playing that role, There is nothing different or rebellious about it. We should never complain about most people's slavish conformity, however, for it offers untold possibilities of power and seduction to those who are up for a few risks.
So he basically hit on both sides. He was talking about the male. What's going on, Chaos? He was talking about the male first, and then he's talking about the women on the back end of that. Because it's equal opportunity. These things work for both. The dandy is it's all encompassing. It's basically, if you're female, you want to throw in some masculinity into it, just a tad bit. And if you're male, you want to throw that in also. It's like you want to be balanced. You want to throw a little tidbit in there. And we do this naturally a lot of times when we're into someone, when there's them law periods, that's that infatuation period. Where you got attracted to each other for what that energy was. Then you actually get into the relationship portion of this. Then you move forward, and then it's that tug of war back and forth. So finally you get to the compromising state of the sustainability of the relationship where you set the boundaries. This is the bar I want you to stay at. Hold on, let me see what he says. Fluid rocking you to sleep, talking advantage of perceived vulnerabilities, wolf in sleep's clothing. Facts. So let's see. RVSOP says, so basically I would confirm and been like 85% of the women in Poppy at their young age, but I replied and I didn't. But if you think about this in the grand scheme of things, right? A lot of this kids, okay, I dig you, Bogan. But this is game, right? Like when I hear people in the space, they talk about their trauma, and it goes back to like high school and in their 20s, right? They ran into one of this archetype. They ran into a dandy. And they didn't know what to do with it. If you hear a person talking about, man, messing with these women, or, these women ain't this, and whatever, and they're still talking about it, they never got over that trauma because they didn't learn from their experience. They became remedial at life. And then what this is actually doing is causing a cascade of younger people listening to this trauma. And because they're little hiccups in the road, now they are traumatized and they're putting up this wall instead of learning, because this is a natural progressive thing in life. Now, I'm going to stop it right here. But if you want to listen to the rest of this, the link is actually pinned to the chat, to the YouTube channel, and you can break it down and talk about it yourself. But you know what I'm saying? Like, and try to get it. But what I wanted to do was basically show that this man was born 1959. These books weren't written. The 48 Laws of Power was not written by him until 1998. And The Art of Seduction wasn't written until 2001. And The 33 Strategies of War wasn't written until 2006. So basically, and I think 50 Cent did his little thing with this, with Robert Greene also. I think it's the 50 Laws of Power or something like that, right? But you got to think about it. 2001, The Art of Seduction was out. So it's 2021. That's 20 years. The second book has been out. And this guy, if you listen, and if he worked a whole bunch of jobs. He had a whole bunch of, because he wanted to be an author. But these are the things that he noticed. And, so it's totally up to you. But I wanted people to understand this is what you're dealing with. And when you're going into cuffing season, you got to leave the dandies alone. You know, you got to leave the dandies alone. You got to get you somebody that's regular. You know, I'm like, and then if you having problem with attracting the opposite sex, it's okay to employ and turn on the dandy, but the dandy has to be an extension of who you are, not something completely totally different. Because when you get past that part and they see who the real you are, and you're nowhere near this person, then there's a problem. And that's why a lot of relationships fail and they don't make it in the cuffing season, let alone through cuffing season. They don't make it. I don't want you ending up like my man right here. I don't want you ending up like him. You know what I'm saying? Sitting up there, yuck. I don't want you yucking over here. You know, so now we're going to talk about the next thing that I'm going to talk about is I'm going to bring up the one that's before this one, because these actually go hand in hand, right? Because these actually are extension of themselves, but I wanted to bring up the dandy to break down. Now, this is on page 29, and it's called The Ideal Lover. Let me see if you guys can see this clearly. See if you guys can see this. Yeah, all right, cool. So most people have dreams in their youth that get shattered or worn down with age. They find themselves disappointed by people, events, reality, which cannot match their youthful ideas. Ideal lovers thrive on people's broken dreams, which become lifelong fantasies. You long for romance, adventure, lofty spiritual communion. The ideal lover reflects your fantasy. He or she is an artist in creating the illusion you require in a world of disenchantment and baseness. There is limitless seduction power in following the path of the ideal lover. I'm gonna leave that on the screen. Now, why am I telling you this, right? Now, is this telling you to go out and do these things? Now, at first glance, if you read this book, you'll probably say, man, is it telling me to go out here and lie to people? Just run around with this deception? But this book is also explaining to you, if you're vulnerable, it's the law of the jungle. It said he or she. We have countless times that people play on each other's traumas. They play on traumas and they get the upper hand because maybe they have been hurt. You know, they become a loaf, they become this, that, and the third, and whatever, right? And if you understand, so think about it. For you to be able to be the ideal lover, you would first have to become the dandy. The dandy puts out the persona. The dandy has these motives entangled. Then the dandy can then attract anybody. But then the ideal lover, quote unquote, the hobosexual, the guy on the couch, or the IG model, or an escort, stripper, male or female, doesn't matter. Male or female escorts, it's equal opportunity out here in these streets. You know, video vixens, actors, actresses, musicians, you name it. Even they sell you, even with music, the ideal lover. This fantasy, they prey on it. You know, for like Stevie romance novels or soap operas. All My Children and The World's Turns and All of these, you know, soap operas or whatever, they feed on that longing for fantasy that you've been subverted to. For men, maybe it's porn or something else. You know, maybe it's an action flick where the man is the big macho dude and he's saving the little woman that needs to be saved. So let me look at that. Let's see. Can the ideal lover be real? Laugh out loud. Usually, people I've met have wealth but are mentally and spiritually fucked up, or vice versa. It depends on when you meet them. You know, it depends on when you meet them. I'm like, they can be real, but they have to be able to get over their own trauma. If someone's already in trauma and they're broken, you can't put them back together. They have to fix themselves. You know, I'm in the entertainment business. I see it a lot. I see it all the time. I'll see a woman or man, right? I'll see this. I'll see a man have a woman, right? Let's just say like a models or something. And over here is different, you know, in the US is different because, you know, of cultural standards and body shape and stuff like that. So over here, they have the more traditional, petite, skinny, you know, I need a sandwich looking women that are models for them, which is fun. But I'll see them come into the club. I'll see them come into the VIP section, you know, high end club, everybody's partying. And the guy that's, you know, that's got the dandy going, he shows up in the Ferrari or the Bentley, or he's got the car service that brings him because he's rich. The guy's got money. He gets out of there, he goes straight in there. He's walking in with his guy, with maybe two or three of his people, but those aren't really his friends per se. Those are the people, the guys that work with him or in his crew. And he's walking in and they're opening doors for him and he knows the owner and stuff like that. And he sits at his VIP table. And then he sees the girls and then he points and it's like 3 or 4 or 5 of them come up. And he's up there partying with them and he's sitting back and all these women are vying for his attention. There's 5 women vying for his attention. They could be for whatever reason. They might actually generally like him, but we all know what it is. And he's playing the role, but everybody's looking at him because these women here that he has is window dressing because there's some woman in the room where he generally wants. And a lot of times when he's in this state, I'm just talking about the man state right now, he's looking for the woman that doesn't know what she really is because she's feeling some type of way. She's kind of a little bit broken and something, and he's going after her. He's being the ideal lover, right? He pulls her up. He picks her and elevates her over everyone else. Now she feels as though she's special because all these women are vying for his attention. And he has all of this and he has all this admiration. He's put on this pedestal, but he cameth down from the heavens and he picked her. You get where the ideal lover comes from. You get where the dandy comes in intertwined. And once he gets her to the state where she's so engulfed and in love with him and all of this other, and he's used her spiritual energy up, he discards her. And then you see the visceral reaction to that. He comes into the club, ignores her. She has a meltdown. She's drunk. She's in love. She's crying. She's a beautiful woman, but she's broken. Now this starts a cycle of what? Now she's going to go on a rampage because men are trash now, right? No, this is a reoccurring cycle. Because the people that naturally do this, they don't need this book to explain to them because this is actually a teaching mechanism so you can understand who the dandies are, who the ideal lovers are. And they're usually and they're both running in the same extensions of each other. So you don't catch this. You know, and I can be, hey, look, we all have our dandies at our certain level and our ideal levels at a certain level because not everybody has their particular cup of tea. Everybody has whoever, but then you have people that are undeniably blanket Shara King, narcissist lovers' tendencies. They analyze what you want, looking for in in a mate, and then they become that to fulfill the fantasies and desires. Exactly. Now, the ones that do it with an exchange, with an upfront exchange, you're talking about escorts or gigolos. They become that. You know, I used to be a side dude. And why did I become that? Because I had a cycle of hurt. I got hurt by the woman that I thought early on was my ideal lover that I wanted to be with, and that happened. So I took the other route. Everybody goes through this. This is a stage in life that you have to go through. And a lot of people that get out here and trauma bond and under these content creators, that they are hurt also. The ones that are spewing this stuff, they're messed up because they are remedial when it comes to this stage in life. Everybody goes through this. Man, woman, whatever. Mostly everybody goes through it. You are not accept. Like they say, everybody plays the fool sometimes. It was a song. Everybody plays the fool sometimes. Like they say that for a reason. No one's excluded. I'll give you a perfect example. Let's look at let's take some of the celebrities, right? Because their life is like out there, like an open book. Let's take Kanye. Kanye's been through this like twice. Amber Rose, we didn't know who Amber Rose was, but Amber Rose was his dandy. The first time we saw Amber Rose really like that was, I think it was the time he walked up and took the mic from Taylor Swift and said, Beyonce won. We were like, who was that woman sitting in the front row with the short blonde hair? Shaw said the older folks call it getting your head bumped. Exactly. So we see Amber Rose sitting in the front row, but we didn't know who she was. We didn't know what her name was. But he made all of these songs about her and his hurt. Like, he made a whole album of 808 and Heartbreaks about her. She then leaves him and go has a child with Wiz. Now, Amber Rose becomes what? She becomes the ideal lover. She becomes the female dandy, right? Because she has that fierceness about it. She's feminine, but she has that fierceness about it. And then when she opens her mouth, you're like, why is it? But look at her, right? Just look at her. Look how she carries it, right? Do you think, wow, that's crazy? Then he gets Kim. Same thing happens to him because Kim becomes his new what? Ideal lover. Kim becomes, and he seeked her out, and she becomes his what? His dandy, because she's out there. She's doing the things that other people couldn't do. She's doing the things that other people couldn't get away with. Like, Kim Kardashian is like a more classy, civilized version, if it was, of Amber Rose, right? Now let's flip it on its head. Let's take Beyonce and Jay-Z. In your million years, you would never think that Beyonce with Jay-Z would ever cheat on Beyonce. Like, what is he thinking about? But he is her dandy. He is her ideal lover. Because she could have any man on the face of the planet that she wanted, but why did she stick with this dude knowing that it was out there that he cheated on her? She even made a song about it. They made money on it. They ran around or whatever. Her sister fought him at like a thing where they was about to make so much money in the elevator. And she allowed it to happen because she was hurt. But it didn't last too long because the next day the sister was over there in treatment, quote unquote, for alcohol stuff. And they had her kid, which was pretty much like almost kidnapping, right? It was like legalized kidnapping, right? To make it, she had to fall on that L. Cerulli, what's going on? The sister took up for a child, but why did Beyonce? These things play out, and I'm just letting you peek into the psychology. And these are billionaires we're talking about, millionaires and billionaires. And if they're going through this, who are you not to go through this also? You're lying to yourself if you haven't looked back at your life, regardless of what you assign to what type of gender fluidity that you're with. Everybody has some type of heartbreak and pain when it comes to relationships or things of that nature, when it comes to the other person. But you have to get over that. You have to move forward. Maybe you have to become the very thing to a certain degree to understand the psychology, or you don't even have to become that. You don't, maybe that's not way you get over it. Maybe you look out for it. And I'm not the smartest man in the world. I had to look at this book and realize, oh, that's how I got over it. This is how I got over it. Now, if I could go back, I would probably not have done what I've done to get over it. Maybe I would have took a different route to get to the same point. But at the same time, it's a cycle. It's because the cycle just runs. The cycle goes so long that you don't realize how it started. You just know that it's going. And wherever it stops, that's who catches the all shits. I don't want none of you out there like this. I don't want you out there like this. Don't want you looking like this. I don't want you seeing you like this. This is not how you should be looking. There's literature out here that is, and you know what I mean, that breaks down things. Sometimes we need to take a little psychology 101. We need to understand ourselves and what to look out for with the pitfalls. With all of this technology, with all of this information being flowed, people are dumber socially than they were 10 to 15 years ago. Because the problem now is with the internet is you're not sitting in a person's presence to feel their energy. That's the difference. And ideal lovers and dandies are really getting on their game, especially in this economic downturn. Take it how you will. If you want to be, if you want to become a dandy, and we all become dandies because we want to court attention and stuff, and we. But how much of that persona is really you, and how much of it's not? That's not for me. That's not for me or anybody else to decide. But this is what you need to be wary of. I'm trying to give you a solution to the problem. I'm trying to give you some insight to your problem. But I can't give you the full answer because this is all theory until you actually put it into practice and actually find it out. Because this is not like there's no one fit all answer to the nature of human beings because everybody's different. You're different. I'm different. Doesn't matter. But I do know on the basis of the baseline that this holds true, and these are the archetypes that run around, but this is one in encompass because the ideal lover and the dandy is all the same. It's a breakdown, and it shows in the ideal lover tells you about how they hunt. They're not going after people that's strong with their own self-belief, that have self-discipline, that are reassured and they rest in their own, in their self. They're you know, they have these things that they're more focused on. Their careers, their jobs, their whatever it is. Think about it like this. The ideal lover is the dandy, but it plays the part of the person that is enamored with the dandy. And when you deal with a dandy, they will become the ideal lover to you. They will become the ideal lover. And this is part one. This is like the part one, and this is the seductive character page because there's a lot of them. You know what I mean? There's like they talk about the cork, the charmer, the charismatic, the star, the anti-seducer. Now, here's another one, right? And this is a turn off. I'm gonna just talk about this one real quick. The anti-seducer. Seducers draw you in by the focus, the individualized attention they pay to you. Anti seducers are the opposite, insecure, self absorbed, and unable to grasp the psychology of another person. They literally repel. Anti seducers have no self awareness and never realize when they are pestering, imposing, talking too much. Root out anti seductive qualities in yourself and recognize them in others. There is no pleasure or profit in dealing with an anti seducer. Basically, if you're sitting up here talking about yourself all day, Marsha, all this other stuff, you know what I'm saying? What's going on, Timothy Johnson? What's going on? Welcome. If you're doing all this, then you're not going to get anywhere. You're not going to get to where you need to do. Run. I'm pretty sure, man, woman, whatever. You even got friends that act like this. They like draining your energy. Like you don't even. They call you like, oh Lord, I ain't trying to talk to this person, man. They ain't trying to seek no. Like, why would you sit there and wallow in self pity or hear someone complain and they never say anything positive? They never say that things are here, gloom and doom. Never. The seducer's victims, the 8 types. And this breaks down, right? Like how things work. But this is not meant as a scare tactic. It's basically to help you navigate life better in your relationships. And people do this unknowingly. Like people do this subconsciously because of their environment or just ingrained who they are. There are people just out there that just advantageous people that just want to take advantage of people and want to see the world burn. That's not the whole world, but there is that element that is there, and you can stay away from those people if you pay attention. Because they have memorized all the talking points. Exactly. Exactly. Well, so I'm gonna stop this real quick here, right? So go check that
Dandies have
out.
existed.
Hold on, my bad. Go check that out. Like I said, the link is in the top part of the chat. The link is in the top part of the chat. Please go check that out. I was going to do the 1/3 show and my thing and whatever. And you know what? I'm going to be honest with y'all because no one's going to beg you to be great. But I'm going to be honest with y'all because y'all my audience. And y'all don't have to be here, but y'all did come to support and stuff like that. I'm taking a break from the 1/3 show until the fall. I'm going to give you the reasons why. The main reason why, no, I'm just joking with you. The reason why I'm taking a break is one, next week, my grandson is going to be here and we're going to have family time. I had a good time doing what I love to do, which is filming, getting out of the house. I can kind of feel the break in the energy that was pushed down on me because of Rona, because I couldn't do what I need to do. Two, there's really nothing newsworthy. That when I do the 1/3 show, I like to give you something newsworthy, and something that you can put a feather in your cap and watch out for. It's kind of like Me and my crystal ball. Me and my crystal ball, and I get, and it's not just me. I'm getting information and having conversations with great minds in the back chats and talking this out or arguing it out a lot of times. But it's all in fun and this love. But I'm gonna take a break until the fall, because people ain't really paying attention anyway. So let's just be honest. There's really no news out there. I got stuff. I got real life popping off. And it's cool to take a break so you don't get burned out. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to do some content or do some things or come up here and talk. And that's what the random thoughts is basically. It's just me coming up here, chopping it up, like talking back and forth with you guys in the chat. But you know what I mean, but about some more real life, intimate back and forth stuff, but not just coming out of the side of my neck with it. But I want you to decide how you deal with the information. I'm not trying to really too much push a narrative, but these are my opinions at the end of the day, and this is what I take from it. And you're free to disagree with me. It's fine. It's free. You're free to disagree in the chat, in the comments. You're free to go make a video about it. You're free. I'm not really going to go back and forth with it because if people want to hear what my opinion is. Plus, this ain't really scripted. It's not scripted. It's just me going off the top of my head, and I may be wrong. I may be right, maybe in between, but it's my thoughts. And those are your thoughts. And they're random sometimes. They're random a lot. We all got a lot of random thoughts. But I just have the balls enough to get up here and let you know about them. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, so we're going to be back in the fall with the 1/3 show. I'm going to do some revamping to some things. It's going to be more polished. I got to get in my Tucker Carlson back. If you notice, I'm kind of getting more and more Trevor Noah-ish, Tucker Carlson type of deal. I'm getting that vibe, right? Because if I'm going to be up here, I need to make some money. Not off of you guys, per se, but hey, I need to make some money. YouTube paying all these other people. I want to get paid too. You know, I ain't trying to be a millionaire of it, but I want some supplemental income because this camera stuff costs money. You know, the bill, you know what I'm saying? And from time to time, you know, the Reverend might come up here and give a sermon. But he's on his summer revival. You know, he got to keep people on the straight and narrow, you know, the path to God. So the Reverend might make some appearances every now and again. But I appreciate all of you coming through. How many people, you know what I'm saying? How many we got in the chat right now? Let's see. We got people in the chat. We got 11 likes. Let me hit this Turner button for y'all. You know what I'm saying? Let me hit this Turner button for y'all. Let's smack it up. Turner! 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 Right. Turner! Turner! Appreciate you. Now I'm gonna let y'all know if I get 20 likes on the stream, the max you're gonna get is 10 Turners. I'm just telling you. So when it goes past a certain point, I'm not gonna do that. All right. So but tomorrow, tomorrow is Char. Char, drop the link to your channel in the chat, please, while we have people watching. So tomorrow is the Just Ask Char Advice Channel open panel discussion with her co-host Classic Ruby, and you might as well say her other co-host is Vonda. Sis Vonda is there, you know. So and the whole family is there. You're free to come. You know, what I mean, everybody's free, invited. But if you come up on the panel and you acting stupid, you're gonna be gone. And if you come up on the panel and you don't talk, you're gonna be left in the back you're gonna be gone. And you better get there early and pay attention because you don't want to be put on the spot and called to the board to do a problem and you don't know what you're doing because you're sleeping in the back of class. And you got 2 hours and 30 minutes. Don't matter how good the conversation going, it's over. So be there, show up, and then you have article reactions, and then there's Blue Lights in the Basement is on Sunday on CRBJ, Classic R&B Jams. So now I have a drop for it, but because these random thoughts may go off scripted and I may say some things and I don't want to bring that too much back to the content creators because they are holding that thing down over there. So these are my random thoughts. They're unscripted. If you notice, if you look at the description box, there's nothing in the description box. There's no tags on this video. None of that. It's just my thoughts, and it's just more of us having a conversation and so forth. But the 1/3 show will get more scripted. It'll get more, I will present it a little more, and I'm going to get more streamlined with it. Thank you all for stopping by. Let me do my little jig. Do my little jig again. You know what I'm saying? My proverbial YouTube minstrel jig for them likes, comment, and subscribe. You know what I'm saying? No one will beg you to be great. There's Shar's YouTube channel. No one will beg you to be great, but we will hold you accountable. I thought you like that, Shar. So y'all have a great evening. On Thursday, Friday is around the corner. You can relax on the weekend if you can, or enjoy the rest, or enjoy your summer. There may not be a stream next week because my grandson is here. I don't like none of y'all like that to be up here while I got my grandson here. I'm being straight up honest with you. So if there's no stream next week, blame it on me being a functional granddaddy. Y'all have a good one and peace.